Hey everybody, it's Romania Black, and we are on Seraph of the End, episode 18. The last couple episodes have been really interesting. We've got Narumi's squad. We've been building up to them all going to this big battle, Nyoga to face what we assume is Crowley. Crowley doesn't seem too concerned about it. Mika's having a lot of struggles. We haven't seen Ferret in a while. And this entire series is really, the first half, Season 1 really built up Guren as being this suspicious character and possibly a traitor working with the vampires. But the last couple of episodes have built up Guren to really be someone that's... He may still be the traitor, but I feel like there's more to it than that if he is, or it's Shinya, or it's somebody else. Or it's going to be somebody out of left field that we don't see coming being the traitor. I don't know. But this series, it really makes you question who you can trust, who is trustworthy, where people's motivations lie. Are characters good? Are they evil? What are they fighting for? It's making you question lots of different things. And so going into this episode, I'm really curious. This is the halfway point. We are at the halfway point of the second cour. We are nearly 3/4 of the way done with this season, with this series. So, I'm going to look at the manga afterwards, but with the anime part of it. So, I don't know. I really, at this point, I don't have any idea on who to blame or who to say is right or wrong. There's just lots and lots of questions, right? So I'm curious to know what's going to end up happening with these characters. But the last episode was a pretty self-contained one where we fought Lukel. Old Lukel. His voice actor is great, and we fought him and managed to make it out all right. But Crowley seems to be our bad guy going into this final fourth. So I don't know. I have my rule of 8, and we've not gotten there yet. So we're only on the 6th episode of the second cour. So we'll get there and see what happens there. But I don't want to waste any more time. I'm pretty excited to get to this episode, y'all, and see what happens. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to dive into episode 18 of Seraph of the End here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. So yeah, this episode was fascinating. There's so much setup, right? I'm going back through it now, but there's a lot of setup in this. Ihara is dead. You lose comrades sometimes, and Ihara is dead. But girl, she probably was going to die anyway, but she wanted to die. She was going to commit suicide, and then ended up dying at the hands of Mika. So Mika's got blood on his hands. He had blood on his hands before, but it's somebody that they knew, right? But she did want him to kill her. So I'm like, that's what she wanted in the end. But man, this episode, there's a lot of setup in this. So both sides are suspecting of a traitor. It's interesting because Kureto seems to be Kureto's not the main one in charge. That's like the old Daddy Hiragi. That's like the main guy with the eye patch and everything. So Kureto is not really in charge of the Moon Demon Army, but I always thought Kureto was kind of in the same position as Cruel, kind of one of the higher ups in all of this. But we established that Crowley is maybe like a Kureto counterpart in that Kureto suspects that there's a traitor amidst the humans in the demon army, and now Crowley is suspecting that there is a traitor amidst the vampires, they're like, the humans are getting too strong too fast. Why is this happening? Why is all this all of a sudden going down? Something's amiss. And so I like the fact that Crowley's piecing things together. And of course, yeah, Mika's going to City Hall, is probably going to battle Guren, and now has killed Ihara, so there's that. Nope, not a fan. Not a fan at all. Because you told Guren that he wanted to be able to get to... God, he told Guren he wanted to be able to get to Mika, and Mika's wanted to get to you, and so Guren's like, I'll help you do that. And my dog's going crazy, so... Okay, so we, while he's barking, we've got the beginning of this episode, we've established that Crowley has the 25 hostages. That makes sense now. And so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. There was 21 crosses at the start here. There's 21 crosses where we assume the hostages are, and I guess they took 4 inside, and one of them is dead. Maybe more of them. Because, so the 3 nobles that took them are Crowley and his 2 lady friends, which I'm assuming are people that he's turned himself. And so the one woman that looks like the human embodiment of Chansey is playing chess. And then there's one actually called Chess. So we have Chess and Horn with Crowley. Interesting. And so Chess is the one that... The Chess, it seems like the younger one. And Horn is like has the whip and seems the more responsible of the two. Crowley likes his busty ladies. Let's get that established. Oh my gosh. Just wildness, y'all. So yeah, but we see him messing with the regular report of the experiments and everything. Yeah, so he's getting on to something. There's stuff amiss, right? He's on to what's going on and is questioning why the humans have gotten so strong so fast. And I thought, honestly, that he was going to stab Chess. I thought he was going to stab her with the sword, but he doesn't. He attacks her and then cuts his own finger and shows that it doesn't heal. He's like, we can't heal because of this demon weapon. So, interesting. Like, he just proves a point to her, like, this is pretty serious, right? There's a lot of blood in this episode. Like, they don't shy away from the gore of this guy, like, bleeding onto the carpet and everything. I am surprised, though. It's interesting that they can handle the sword. They can actually handle the weapon themselves. It's just the blade is the part that is hazardous to him. And he's like, be careful. It's basically proving a point. And I like that she says, well, anything that you handle is strong, Lord Crowley. So, And there's, like, the whole thing with drinking of the blood of the vampires, right? I'm assuming it's drinking the blood of the one that made you, or at least of another vampire. It's interesting because back in episode 1, or in episode 2, Farrad made a big deal about wanting to drink Cruel's blood. And Cruel's like, no, gross. And then we know that Mika's been drinking her blood all this time, but Mika's just dependent on her blood for survival. He doesn't treat it as anything else. But with Cruel Horn, when he gives her the blood that he has, it's interesting because it's almost like sexual. Like there's something, like she's blushing. There's something almost sexual about it. Like it's a big deal that a vampire lets you drink their blood. And in Mika's case, he's been doing it all this time and he's not had like a blush on his face or anything, right? He's just doing it to survive. So that's interesting that these two girls, they got it bad for Crowley, whether he's their progenitor or not. It's interesting. And it shows it like not healing. It's got the crystal, the like little fire and ash around it. And so she, like I said, the human embodiment of Chansey, because she's like, Horn is talking about healing his wounds, right? And then Chess is like, but I want to drink. And she's like, no, you drink that human's blood. It's my turn. But yeah, there's just something kind of sexual about it. It's interesting. So we cut back to everybody meeting up at this rendezvous point, and Ihara and her squad are there. Or at least the other people, there's like 7 of them left, so 8 people died. Yeah, so of the 15 that she took, only 8 survived. So we don't know if any of her own squad were left, or if these are all people from the other squads. We don't know. I feel bad for Ihara, because she had a pretty interesting looking weapon. It looked like Yoichi's. And she ends up she dies. But she recognized that Mika's different from the others. Mika just wants to find you. Mika really couldn't care at this point about anybody else. And it's like a damn ticking time bomb, right? It's like a ticking time clock that that Mika just wants to get closer to you. And it's just like, we're just slowly edging there. It's just like, it's such a slow burn, right? To get to that point. But I know that just like in episodes 10 through 12, once we get to Mika and you reuniting, it's going to be good. It's just getting to that point. I did like Shinoa a lot in this episode. Shinoa had her little part where she's like, oh, I don't want any credit. No. And you kind of steps in and talks for her, which on the one hand, I would like Shinoa to stand up more for herself and like to talk on her own behalf. But on the other hand, you doesn't mean anything by it. He's just being you. And Narumi and them are like, okay. I like the little bond that's formed between you and Narumi, where Narumi kind of acknowledges you and recognizes him. I like it. I like it a lot. And then here's the thing. Narumi calls him by Yuichiro Hyakuya, but Mika just says you. So she recognizes, she's like, okay, something's up with this Mika vampire. He knows you on a personal level. So that means he must have some connection to him. So I'm glad that she pieces that together when she's talking with Mika. So they're all going to rendezvous and go to the airport and then meet back up and then head to the city hall. Makes sense. And that's where Crowley and all of them are at to go rescue the hostages. And that's where Mika's headed to with his 5 vampires. Awesome. I think he would have gone alone, but Mika would not have been able to convince Lucas and Renee otherwise. He wouldn't have been able to convince him. he had to have the other vampires with him kind of as a cushion, be like, I'm not acting alone, I'm not suspicious, I'm bringing these other vampires with me. And they're like, well, that makes sense, as they're going to the botanical gardens. So any kind of storyline with Yoichi facing the killers of his sister, we're not getting that resolved right now. They're going to probably save that for the manga. But yeah, I like that so Guren and them show back up and you gives him some lip. He's like, oh yeah, we won. How about you? And then he's like, it was a breeze. And he's like, yeah, right. Guren in this scene, again, I talk about how Guren, I can't feel like Guren's the traitor at this point, because there's little nuances and little things he does in this episode that I'm like, I don't think he's the traitor. Shinya is still suspicious, but I think that there's more to it than just Shinya's a downright traitor. I think there's more to it than that. But Guren questions about how the newbies were they a drag, and Narumi, I'm proud of Narumi for actually sticking up when Yu's like, yeah, Narumi's like, yeah, they did all right. Nah, they were really good. Like, he doesn't want to beat around the bush. I love that little face by Yu. It's precious. But yeah, and Yu's like, right, we did it. And that little soft look by Guren, where Guren's like, like that little soft look, and Narumi's like, don't get full of yourself, and they're arguing. It's so cute. It's really cute, y'all. And then that's when he sees Ihara by herself, taking responsibility. And he knows that she probably feels responsible. And I don't think any of those people are with her own crew. And yeah. And I feel like Ihara and Guren both feel personally invested when people die on the battlefield. And so she feels really responsible, wants to apologize. And he tries to gloss it over, being like, that's just what happens, right? You lose comrades in a battle. And she's like, it's all my fault. And he's like, stop it. I'm glad you came back alive. And she just has all this remorse. And then he asks about the other squads, and they're not back yet. And he's like, well, we're not going to wait around. We're going to go on to the next mission to go to City Hall. And here's the thing. Shinya has not spoken to Guren, like, as soon as he came up. Shinya has been, like, behind the pillar listening. He's like, the 9 squads assigned to the 3 nobles were annihilated. And 25 of them have been taken hostage. And so they're going to meet up at City Hall to try to take them back. So he goes over the game plan. And I like that we see you looking like they've been taken hostage. He's like, we need many people for future missions. So we're going to kill the nobles and rescue our comrades. And then she's like, well, what can I do? And he's like, you're crying. I'm not taking you with us. But it's all a front. He wants her to stay behind and tell the other teams. So, I mean, in hindsight, it's good that she stayed behind because she was able to tell Mika, and they kept Renee and Lucas from going straight to City Hall. But on the other hand, because Guren told her to stay behind, that's the thing. Guren's going to face Mika, and he's going to ask about Ihara, and Mika's going to be like, I killed her. And then they're not going to know the context. And it's like, you know? But that soft look that Guren gives her, where he's like, I'm just kidding. After our comrades rendezvous at the airport. After rescuing our comrades, we'll rendezvous at the airport. So he's expecting her not to meet back up with them until after they go to City Hall. Ugh. It's so sad. Oh my gosh. Oh. And that look. I want you to stay and tell the other squads about it. And she does, and it all goes awry. It's just, yeah, Guren giving all these soft looks. Let's go, kids. And Shinya's behind the tree, looking sus. Looking so sus. It's like, ah. And so then there's this moment here where Guren and Shinya actually have a conversation. And I like that the one guy, is it Itachi? I always forget his name. He's looking on the lookout. But here's the thing. Everybody's on the lookout for vampires. But Shinya seems unconcerned. Suspicious. I think if Shinya is the traitor, there's a reason behind it. And there's more to it than just he's the traitor. But I think he's the one leaking info. He's like, you have a minute? That whole, you have a minute? It's from another series. It's from another series that I wore this shirt reacting to. It's from Attack on Titan. There's a moment in Attack on Titan where that line, got a minute? It's like, ugh! It just all ties back to that series. I'm like, ha ha ha, nervous laughter. But he's like, are you telling me that I shouldn't go knowing it's a trap? Yeah, because Shinya didn't know that Guren would have this plan to go to City Hall. Shinya didn't have any idea. And now that Shinya knows, he's like, well, shit, we're going right into the battlefield. So if Shinya is the traitor, then obviously he's going to be like, crap, we're going right to where the main vampires are. This is not good. So he's like, well, we don't have a choice to go, right? But I love he's like, if we lose those squads, we can't do the job that's given to us. And he's like, then what are you complaining about? And he's like, I'm not complaining. And I love this moment where he says, I know many comrades were killed and you don't do too well with these things. So we're getting another layer of Guren. We're getting the fact that Guren doesn't deal well with losing people. And Shinya's like, I just want to make sure that you're okay. I was worried. And then I like that Guren's like, it's a battlefield. We're bound to have victims. And he tries to like play it off and look ahead. He's like, and your virtue is that you still beat yourself up over it. And he kind of smiles at that. And then that shoulder grab where he's like, it's fine. Like all aboard the Guren Shinya train. I'm on this, but like him gripping the shoulder, sold. Ship sold. Pairing sold. If he's the traitor, I'm gonna be heartbroken for Guren, but ship sold. And it stops him. It stops Shinya in his tracks looking at Guren. I'm telling you, I think Shinya is the traitor. And I think that it's going to break Shinya's heart that he has to do this. And it's going to break Guren's heart when he finds out. Oh man, it's just, they're setting up all the angst, right? I just finished Modao Zushi. And in Modao Zushi, you have your main ship of these two characters that you're like, they're the world. Preciousness. I love it. And then you have this other ship where it's two characters that are similar to the good ship that has the happy ending. But this ship does not have a happy ending, and it goes down in flames. And so that's how I feel about Mika and you over here, and Guren and Shinya. I feel like this ship is going to suffer, and this ship is going to maybe have a happy ending. I don't know. It's a long manga, so I'm sure it's still going, but what? And then this one guy, this red shirt over here is like, oh, it's fine. They won't be annihilated. And it's like, they won't be, but you're about to. So yeah, then they all show up, and then that's when the choppers arrive, right? And man, bad luck on Aihara's part because she shot down the wrong chopper. She did not shoot down the chopper with Mika and Renee and Lucas in it. Nope. Instead, and I can't believe she ordered them all to commit suicide. That blows my mind. That she's like code 284 because she's like, and there's a part of me that's like, okay, they don't want to get tortured for intel and get their blood drained. Yeah, but like she commanded all of them to commit suicide and then they did like that. And she tried to too. And he's like, I got a question to ask you. And he takes the cyanide pill out of her mouth and throws it away. But I love that he's like, shut up. He's like played. And Mika tries to help her. He's like, I'll let you go if you just answer my question. If you just tell me where you is, it's fine. But yeah, Mika just trying to get information. And she's like, what? And he's like, I'll let you go if you answer. And she's like, no, I'm not going to do this. Right? But do you know a human named Yuichiro Hyokuya? And her reaction says everything. Like he's like, no, obviously you know who it is. He says, your eyes say you do. I love how dead Mika's eyes are. He's like, you tell me everything if you want to live. And she's like, I just was about to commit suicide. I don't care. She's like, kill me. If I have to sell my comrades out, then I'd rather. And he's like, you guys aren't used comrades. That's what gets her attention. She's like, you. So she realizes that Mika has a relationship with you that's more than just the others. And she's like, what are you saying? And Mika's like, damn it. Like, Mika's emotions get the better of him so much. And the other vampire's like, what you doing, Mika? Why ain't you killed that human yet? And I guess it's dusty, so they don't see her blink and everything from the chopper. And then Luke is like, why? Or Renee, they're like, why'd they die? And so they identify that it's Lucal, right? And they think, okay, they know traces of the vampires that were killed. So so these guys had no idea that the humans knew specific names of nobles, because that is some intel that's pretty important. So they're like, this is pretty serious. If they know our names, that's, you know, private knowledge. How would they know? So everybody's starting to piece together slowly but surely that the vampires are starting to piece together that there's a traitor among them. All right. And Crowley thought it might have been, because Crowley's like, is it Farid? Is it Cruel? Is it a human pulling the strings? What's the deal, right? It's fascinating. I like it a lot. Yeah. So they establish it's Lucal. And they're like, a human would never take down a noble. And it's like, well, maybe not one human, but Lacus, and Renee. Okay, it's not Lucas, it's Lacus. And so Mel Stefano, they're like, we can't find him anywhere. So Stefano might have been one of the ones that were killed. Something strange is going on. I'm assuming the ones in the botanical garden is one of the ones that were already defeated, and that's how she knew the name. And she's like, let's move to Lord Crowley in City Hall. And so she tries to say, so she knows that they're headed towards City Hall. And so at this point, Ihara's like, well, crap, they're headed to City Hall. That's where our group is going. So she's like, this guy clearly has ties to you, so maybe he won't hurt you. Maybe he can be something in this to like shake things up. So she wants to give him the information. And they're like, Mika, just kill her already. She's got a knife to your throat, but it's nothing crazy. And they're like, we'll get intel from her. And so I'm like, but is that knife really a demon weapon? And so they're like, we're not going to help Mika out. He's like, I'll take care of it. And so that's when she tells him that you and them are headed to City Hall. And Mika's like, well, shit, that's where everybody's going. And she backs away to say where they're going. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. And so, yeah, she's like, if you guys head there, everyone will be killed. Because she knows that Mika cares about you. So Mika's going to at least try to keep you safe. And he's like, why would you trust me? And her saying, I'm counting on the fact that you called our newbie you. Do you understand what this means? This is all I know. And she's saying, like, you're going to have to kill me. That's all I know. And he's like, yeah, that's what she was referring to. She's like, I'm going to have to die because that's all the information that I had. But he doesn't kill her. She asks him to, and he won't do it. Not until she actually attacks him. Like, he breaks her arm. And they're like, oh. But he doesn't kill her until the very end. Yeah. And she begs. But, And they ask where the comrades are, where the humans that attacked here, and that's when she gives up the info about the botanical gardens. But she tries to get one shot left because oh my gosh. Yeah, this scene as they're going away, they're like, hurry up. Mika's like, I'm not going to kill you. Sorry. And he just chooses to walk away. Because that's not Mika's style, right? And they ask him to bring the human with them. And Mika's like, nah, she's no use to us. Nope, we're going to leave her. It's fine. And he's like, well, no, she is still useful. And that's when she stands up with the bow. I mean, girl being able to pull it while her arm's broken. She's like, you're just going to kill me in the end. And Mika's like, really? And we don't see his face, right? But she misses. And that's why he turns around and kills her. And we don't hear what she says in that moment, but she smiles. And it almost sounds like she says thank you. And Mika's like, It's a very big parallel to Shahar from the OVA. It's a parallel of when you killed Shahar from the OVA to him killing Ihara, which imagine their names kind of have similar lettering in it. But yeah, it's almost like the same thing. But Mika goes through this thing where he questions. He's like, I wonder if she was one of the ones that was protecting you. And then he has to snap himself out of it. He's like, no, these people aren't protecting you. They're using him. So there's a part of Mika that wants to think that you has made friends, that he is being protected by these people. But then there's the other part of him that knows what Cruel has told him and that they're using you. And so he can't get that out of his mind. And so he's like, no, they're not his friends. They're using him still. And that's so frustrating. That's probably the most frustrating part at this point, is that he still thinks that these people don't care about you and that they're using him. And yeah, some of them are. But Mika just cannot accept the fact that any of these humans are befriending and helping you and have genuine feelings for him like Shinoa and his friends do. Mika just can't accept that because of what Cruel's told him, by what he's seen from the other vampires, what the vampires have told him. Mika has been conditioned this whole time to think this, and he's like, we just can't take a human's word and trust it. And I think that Mika's being pretty genuine there, and the other vampires are like, yeah, no, that's a good point. It's just, oh my God. This was such a setup episode, but at the same time, I feel like the stuff with Guren and Shinya is going to come back around. I feel like the stuff with what Ihara said to Mika is going to come back around. I feel like Mika going to City Hall, like all this is going to come back around. It's going to be crazy. But yeah, he asks, did you protect you? And he's like, no, they're just using him. I'm like, Yu's not going to want to come with you if you're having a misunderstanding like last time. Because last time I'm like, Mika, buddy, did you not learn? You didn't want to come with you because you just couldn't accept that he had friends. And I can't blame Mika because he's been all alone this whole time. And he has no reason to think that you would have friends. But him smiling, saying, I'm coming for you, Yu. I'm like, oh, no! We've done this song and dance before! Oh. Only now it's going to be worse. But Mika is so hung up on the fact that he'll get Yu back. It's like, oh, I get it. Yu and Mika, they love each other. But it's just, there's so much more complications to it now. Oh my God. I feel like this is one of those seasons. It reminds me a little bit of Moriarty the Patriot, a little bit, where in the second core, we have these episodes setting up, and about halfway through the second core, they've done a lot of setup, and then the last several episodes are like, I feel that's what we're getting to. I feel like we're setting stuff up, and these last several episodes have been like nice little, like, okay, we're building towards this, we're building, okay, we're getting there, it's all a bunch of setup, and I feel like next is the 7th episode of the second season. I feel like once we get to the Rule of 8, it's all going to go crazy because it's setting up the last act of the season. Oh, buddy. But this was a good episode. I feel bad that Ihara is gone. We don't get to hear what she says yet. I feel like it's going to come back to it, though. Crowley is interesting. Horn and Chess, we have the 2 girls. They're interesting. They'll probably play a part in the next set of episodes. And then we're getting everything set up to all meet at City Hall, and Yu and Guren and all of them are coming. It's going to get crazy, and I'm not ready. And then there's Shinya, and I'm still suspicious of him, but I don't know what's going to happen. So anyway, that's what's happening. So I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below. Please no spoilers. But this was a good episode. But again, just set up, and then I feel like things are about to kick off in the next couple episodes. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back next week with episode 19 of Seraph of the End. Bye.